Hello, is this thing on? This lamp. Feel like hell. No, I don't have coronavirus. If that's your first question, no one has coronavirus. No, really, I'm not sick or anything. I just, my last video that I posted, almost a week ago, I talked about, I kind of brushed upon how I think I broke a rib. And I don't know if you've ever done that. And I'm not 100% sure if I broke a rib or just pulled a muscle or something. But this is what had happened. It was 4th of July night. And everybody was setting off fireworks. And I had a couple of fireworks laying around. And so I said, all right, hey, you know what? Let's join in the illegal fun. We'll run out to the middle of the road. We'll light this thing off. And it was this big box, right? It was a box of mortars that go up. And I mean, it was an impressive display. Probably one of them $100 ones, you know, it was a nice one. And I put it out in the middle of the street. And, you know, where we live, there's no traffic, so it wasn't a problem. So I lit the thing, and I'm running away from it because I know this is going to be a big display, right? And I'm running through my yard, and right at the edge of where the driveway meets the yard, there's this dip, you know, where there's a hole, probably 8 inches deep. My foot goes in there. Now I'm looking back like this as I'm running because I'm watching the explosions. My foot goes in this thing and I body slam, bam, because I was running full force. 235 pounds, 6'2". My foot goes into this thing and I don't get a chance to recover. You know, I go step and then the next one is bam. I like if Hulk Hogan picked me up and threw me down flat like a hamburger patty on a grill. Bam. And I slid on my face. I remember seeing the concrete sliding past my face. And I landed on this shoulder, which is still recovering. Like it's scabbed up pretty good. But I mean, this was all red. And then I had initially landed on my palms, but somehow rolled over and the meat was all carved off of here and here. I mean, these are just scabs now. And both of my knees were scabbed. And I hit the side, like I hit like this bottom rib in here hard. And I laid there and couldn't breathe. You know, when you get the wind knocked out of you. And my friend Omar, you know, Omar works for me. He was trying to help me up. And I was like, no, please don't touch me. he was like trying to look. I was like, no, please don't help me. And then I was like, move so I can see the fireworks. And I'm laying there going, oh, wow. Oh, that's cool. Oh. I remember that. So then finally I get up, I waddle into the house. Well, what is this? This is the 18th now. And I have been in pain ever since. And it's gotten better, yes. But I think that I re-injure myself every time I go to bed because this is the thing, right? I'm taking all kinds of, I got tramadol here. Tramadol, 50 milligrams. Take 1 to 2 tablets by mouth every 6 hours. And I get this other stuff called Etodolac. Anyway, so I'll take some of that and I'll be feeling pretty good. But they only last about 4 to 6 hours, right? And I'll go to bed and then I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I can't hardly breathe. I'm in pain because the pain medicine has wore off. And now I'm just dying. And I get up for a little while. take some more pain meds. You have to drink a glass of water, you have to eat something. Then I'm up for a couple hours. Then I feel okay again. And then I go back to bed. And this has been going on for going on 2 weeks now. Yeah. Swift says takes crazy long time to heal. The breathing movement keeps them from healing. So it seems like every time and for a solid week or 10 days, I could not lie on my back. I can now lie on my back now, but I had to lay on my right side. And this was giving my shoulder problems, because I was laying on this shoulder. Let me just tell you what I'm trying to say is I haven't been sleeping right. I look like absolute shit. I need to shave. My beard's all out of whack. Yesterday, I took a bath for 2 hours because I just couldn't get out of the tub. Every time I started to get out, I was like, oh, it hurts too much. I would just put more hot water in. I'm like, I'm just going to lay in here until I was a prune. Finally, I was like, I got to get out. I got to stand up, no matter how much it hurts. But basically, I have just been in a world of shit for 2 weeks. And all I did was fall down. I say all I did. But when you're 45 and you're running full blast and you fall down. So when I see videos of people who fall down and wreck a bicycle, fall off of a skateboard and things, it can be bad. Just gravity being from here to here can be rough on you. And just the taking of the painkillers. I don't want to become addicted to these. I'm not somebody who takes drugs. So anyway, I think just the sleeping, the lack of sleep, the oversleeping, the weird sleep schedule, the labored breathing, all of that. I'm just generally worn down. I don't have COVID. I'm one of those people. I've been trying to keep quiet about it because it's such a divisive subject that has been politicized, where basically anybody who believes one way is on this side and anybody believes on this way is the other side. I don't think that I'm one of those people that doesn't think the pandemic is as serious as people says it is. I'm one of those people that is like, if the masks work, then why do we have to be 6 feet apart? Or if being 6 feet apart works, why do we have to wear a mask? Or if we're doing both, then why do you have to shut down all the businesses? And then that argument turns into, well, if you don't wear a mask, you're a murderer and you're killing people. And then when you say, but there's not that many people sick, and people go, well, that's because we're wearing masks. And then I go, well, if we're wearing masks, then why is everything shut down if it's working? And then, so you go ping pong back and forth with what everybody believes is facts in biology. And I just have so many friends that are entrepreneurs and business owners who own restaurants and bars, and they're in the entertainment business. They're musicians, comedians, magicians, performers. And they're all out of work. And luckily for me, my car shop is not affected. But I'm just one of those people that's like, when you think about a pandemic, you think about something like The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like you're just going to be surrounded by zombies. And I go, wow, there's 350 million people here in the U.S. There's something like 30 million people just here in Texas alone. You got about, 8 or 9 million people in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I'm like, I do know one person who says he's sick, that he thinks he's got COVID, or maybe he has come down with COVID. Although I know a lot of people that have come back to me and said that they tested positive for COVID, but they never had any symptoms and they never got sick. Like the drummer in my band, he says he got tested positive. He quarantined himself for 2 weeks, never had a symptom, never got sick. And now he's kind of on the other side of things. He's like, you know what? He was super afraid of it, and now he's not. And so, I don't know what to believe. I mean, clearly there's a virus, and clearly people are getting sick, and people are dying from it. There's clearly a virus out there, but, there's also viruses like tuberculosis. I remember my brother died in January, and they thought that he had tuberculosis. Turned out he had lung cancer. But when he first went into the hospital, he thought he had pneumonia because he couldn't breathe and he was coughing up blood. And they went in and they thought that his symptoms matched tuberculosis. And the reason I mention this is because they put him into a quarantine. This is long before any of the COVID stuff started happening in January. And we had to, in order to see him, we had to go into a small room attached to his room. We had to put on a mask and gloves and a gown, and then we could go in and see him. We weren't supposed to touch him. We were supposed to stand a few feet away from him. And then when we'd exit that room, we'd go into that room. We had to take all that stuff up and put it into a red biohazard can. So all of those things were used in what they call an acute situation where, you never leave the room, right? And the thing is people are wearing the same gloves and mask and clothes all day long around something that's as potentially more communicable than tuberculosis. And yet, the same lady that handles your credit card at the McDonald's, she doesn't change her gloves all day long. She's wearing they're dirty, she's wearing the same mask, interacting with the same people. And I think that's the thing that if there's anything about the virus that makes me question it, it's the health of people who work in the service industry and the fact that they are healthy and not dead. Someone who is a cashier, someone who bags groceries, collects shopping carts, someone who works at the drive-through, and they do it day in and day out with hundreds, if not thousands of people, and they don't get sick. So that might be a testament to the mask and the gloves, and maybe to say, wow, that stuff is really working. Or maybe it's not that communicable, or maybe it's not out there as much as we think. It's one of the two. And that's what questions. And I think that what my stance is on the whole thing is a lot less of questioning the validity of the virus, but arguing the shutdown requirements. I think that if the PPE methods and social distancing are working, then we should be allowed to have all of our businesses open. That's just what I think. Swift says, my best friend tested positive and he was seriously sick for 3 weeks. He said it felt like a bad flu. Mask should be choice, but he lived, right? I mean, everybody gets sick. Everybody gets sick, right? Now, I don't actually get sick. I'm not used to what I'm feeling right now with this ribs. I don't ever get sick. I never get the flu. And by the way, I'm not trying to make a political statement here, but I've never had a flu shot, but I've also never had the flu. So I've never purposefully gone out and got a flu shot. And the reason is because I never get the flu. I never get sick. So I'm like, why should I get a flu shot? I know that doesn't make any sense. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I am not an anti-vaxxer. Okay, I want to make that statement clear. I'm just making the statement that I've never had the flu. I've never gotten a flu shot. I never get sick. I almost never get a cold. When I do get a cold, it's only for maybe 48 hours. I don't feel that great. And then I'm fine. So I've always kind of healed pretty good in those situations. There's been a lot of comments here, and I haven't been really reading them because I've been kind of talking. Let me go back and check. How's my foot? My foot. 112 degrees in Dubai. That's hot. Let's see. Give me just a second. I'm trying to read through. If you write a big, long thing, it takes me a second to read it. No, right now I'm not getting a Ferrari. I have been looking at Testarossas lately, but I think they're too troublesome. You never see Testarossas driving around. And I think that tells me something. I've never seen a Testarossa driving around that wasn't parked. Let's see. Catch the flu and you'll get a flu shot. I don't know. Let's see here. Brown Chicken is going to ask me about every single car manufactured and whether or not I'm going to buy one. I'm not buying any cars right now. I did just get a weird letter in the mail, though. I need to call maybe a lawyer or something about this. It's from the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles about my 2006 Rolls Royce. Now, the one that I just got that I picked up from Sacramento, the car had a salvage title. Really, these title statuses, it's all about insurance scam, quite frankly. The car, the 2006 Rolls Royce that I just got, I bought it. It's a long story. It was in a private collection in North Carolina. Somebody stole the car and joyrided it, left it for dead somewhere. It was picked up after a few weeks. And I think the amount of time that it was missing was long enough for the guy to get paid out for the insurance. Because, and I don't know the specific amount of time, but if the car is missing for a certain amount of time, the insurance will pay you its value that the car was stolen. And what happens is if the car's recovered, the insurance company will sell the car, but it will be considered a salvage because usually it's wrecked. Well, there was nothing actually wrong with the car. They just recovered the car. Then it sat in the recovery yard for some time, and there may have been a period of time that it needed to sit for legal purposes, for paperwork to go by. And while it was sitting, the people at the yard, and I know it's the people at the yard and not the people that stole it, because you had to have tools in order to steal most of the stuff. But they stole the hood ornament and the floor mats and the umbrellas. I mean, if some kids stole the car, they're not going to steal the floor mats and the first aid kit and the manuals. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so the car gets sold at auction pretty cheap. This guy in Sacramento buys it, has it shipped all the way to California. Doesn't really do anything to the car, but put it on eBay. And it's listed with a California salvage title because he gets the title done in his name. And then I bought it on eBay for like 60 grand. And I go pick the car up, bring it back. I go to the Department of Texas Motor Vehicles and I submit the title. All right. So they just sent me a letter saying, and I'm trying to decipher this. This is freaking me out. It says, "Dear title applicant, federal law requires the Texas DMV to run each title application through a national motor vehicle title information system. Discovered an issue while processing your title. When your title application was processed, it discovered that the state of California has reported this vehicle with a manufacturer buyback brand. Therefore, the state of Texas will apply the brand of manufacturer buyback on your Texas title. If you'd like to review the title history information, you can view your website. If you believe this brand has been incorrectly applied, you'll need to contact the state, blah, 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 obtain an official written document." And then I had this little thing here. It says manufacturer buyback. A vehicle has been bought back by the manufacturer under jurisdiction. Defined regulations or laws, such as lemon laws, for example. Manufacturer could be obligated to buy back the vehicle when specified number of repair attempts fails to correct a major problem on a new vehicle, or if the new vehicle has been out of service for repair. So what they're saying is, if a manufacturer, let's say you buy a Tesla because they're in California, the lemon law says that if it is repaired for the same thing 3 times and not repaired, if it's not resolved within a certain period of time, the manufacturer is obligated to buy back the car under lemon law. And then if the manufacturer resells that car, it will be branded a manufacturer buyback to let the buyer know that the car was a lemon bought back by the manufacturer and is being sold and does no longer qualify for lemon law because it's already been used once. Now, this is a 15-year-old Rolls Royce. This is a mistake, but I don't even know how to explain that to. I'm going to have to go down to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, write them a letter. I don't know how this is even coming up because that doesn't make any sense. But I wanted to get the salvage or rebuilt title removed because I go, look, there's nothing wrong with the car. The car's been inspected by the Texas Inspection Board as being nothing wrong with the car. There's no lights on the dash. There's absolutely no damage. There's not a scratch on the car. But somehow, when sometimes a little thing gets changed, somebody puts a typo on a title or something like that, it can forever affect that car. To give you an idea, I think they've changed this now, but for a long time, you could build your own kit car right here in Texas. And then you would go down and you would be given a manufactured vehicle's title. And then you were allowed to call it what you wanted. And there was a huge scam going on where people would build, for instance, a Lamborghini kit car. And they'd say, what kind of car is it? And they go, it's a Lamborghini. And they would put Lamborghini on the title. And you'd get a title that says Lamborghini Countach manufactured vehicle, right? And I've seen kit cars with actual titles that said Lamborghini on them or Ferrari or whatever. And where this got out of hand, and the reason they stopped it is because you had people that were pulling these Mustang scams. And what they were doing is they would take a Mustang and they would make it into like a Shelby Cobra, kind of a Mustang. And then they would redo the title as a manufactured vehicle, and they would list the thing as an actual whatever model of Mustang or whatever they wanted it to be, so they could rip people off and change its, title and VIN structure so that it increased its value. So since then, they've changed the laws. All right, so Ashton wants to know any Elvis fans. I'm an Elvis fan. I have a TCB tattoo. I love Elvis. All right, are we done with Elvis now? Thank you. All right, no more Elvis questions. All right. We're done with the Elvis questions. This isn't the Elvis show. So I got to respond to this now, because the thing is, the car is my car. I don't really care necessarily. But at some point, I'm going to sell the car, and it's going to be a major problem. It's going to really destroy the value of the car. And I'm having another problem with the other 2004 Rolls Royce because, and this is another goddamn, I don't know how to describe this, but, I took both of the Rolls Royces to my buddy's place to get inspected, right? I said I needed a certificate of inspection for this car so I can get it titled, and then this car needs an inspection. Anyway, he mixed up the two cars, and he put the mileage from this car on this car. So this car had 83,000 miles. This car had 61,000 miles. And he accidentally listed the car with 83,000 miles with a new inspection of 60,000 miles. So when you look at the Carfax, it's like, 40,000 miles, 50,000 miles, 60,000, and then 80,000 miles, and then 60,000 miles. So now it's got a red flag mileage discrepancy on it. And I'm like, dude, you just effed me really hard, because he realized the mistake, and so he did the other car properly, and he goes, oh, okay, so this one has the correct mileage, and now this, and I said, you have to fix this. You're going to have to write Carfax or whoever records this. Now, he told me that he's done this now, but it still hasn't shown on the Carfax. So I'm like, I need you, what is this person here? You're quoting accidentally saying I'm doing it and on purpose. You're deleted. Go after yourself. So now I'm trying to fix that. So I had to make a note on the ad for the car for sale and say, the mileage listed on the Carfax is wrong. Here's a picture of the odometer. It's this mileage, 80,000 miles. Here's the truth of it, and we're trying to get this fixed. But one person was like, I don't want to buy the car. There's some kind of fishiness going on with the title. Like, there's no problem with the title, with the Carfax. It's just that it's a simple mistake, and we're trying to get it rectified, So James says, sorry to hear about Elvis's grandson. Yes, that sucks. Why are we talking about Elvis? I don't understand. I'm over here talking about car titles. So anyway, I'm working on getting that fixed. So I still haven't sold the 2004 Rolls. I had one guy call me, was interested in buying it, was ready to send me the money. Then he wrote me back and goes, my wife says she wants a white one with a white interior, not a black one with a black interior. I was like, And then I was trying to make a deal with a guy that I was going to trade it to him for this Ferrari Testarossa, but he decided he wanted the money instead, so we didn't do the trade. So it's still for sale. It's still over at my buddy's shop. We ended up going ahead and fixing some of the problems that it needed. It had a water pump leak or a hose leak, and it had a small oil leak. And the oil leak was coming from an oil cooler line, but in order to get to the oil cooler line, you had to remove this whole, you had to take the whole front of all of the engine accessories off. So that's been fixed. But one of the, BMW uses these plastic hose couplings that have like a snap pin. So rather than having a C-clamp that goes, or not a C-clamp, but a hose clamp that you screw on like every other hose in the last 100 years, they use this like this little spring clip that goes in there. If you ever want to buy an old BMW or one of these old cars that uses these plastic couplings, and you've noticed that the plastic has started to turn kind of splotchy and turn brown, that means the plastic has now overheated. It started to fail, and it's going to crack. So the maintenance schedule on these BMW cars, and this is what I keep trying to explain to people about buying the car, is that the plastic on these cars about every 10 years you need to go through the whole car and replace everything that's made of plastic on the car. About every 10 to 15 years. And even if the car has like no miles on it, just the age alone, the seals and the plastic parts are gonna need to be replaced. So when somebody says, hey, you know, your car has a lot of miles on it, it's had all these repairs, I found a 2010 Rolls-Royce Phantom for $150,000 and it only has 10,000 miles on it. I'm going to buy that. And I go, here's the deal with you're going to spend $60,000, $70,000 more for that car. And just because it has low mileage just doesn't mean that you're not going to have to do any maintenance for it. Because of its age alone, you're going to have to go and replace all this stuff. You don't get it. And that's what I've been trying to tell people with my videos. I'm like, look, it doesn't matter that the car has 20,000 miles or 80,000 miles because the motors will run forever. We're talking about a V12 motor that's so over torqued that the motor, it's got so much torque. The 6.75 liter V12 has so much power that the car takes off in second gear. The transmission is programmed to take off in second gear. When you put it in low mode, it takes off in first gear, and then it kicks you in the back like you're in a, like if you put the car in low gear, it's like, you know, you would never use low gear. There's no point in having it, right? You would just burn the tires out of. You're talking about a 6.75 liter V12 with almost 600 pounds of torque, right? That's more torque and power than my bus has. My tour bus doesn't have that much power. You understand? My tour bus probably has half of that. So what I'm trying to say is you're never going to physically wear out the engine, transmission, and drivetrain of Rolls-Royce. But what will happen is all of the seals, the gaskets, and all the plastic bits that put it together are going to fail. So you're never going to blow up the engine block. I mean, unless you overheat it, but it won't let you. It'll turn itself off. You know, it won't let you completely hammer the engine. It'll turn itself off usually, unless you've somehow overridden all those things. But the point is you'll never find one of these cars with the engine that's incapable of running. The electronics might be bad or some other issue, but the physical engine block and the cylinders, that'll be fine forever. So if you find a Rolls that has 80,000 or 100,000 miles on it, don't worry. All that means is somebody maintenance the shit out of the car. So what's going to have to happen is, anyway, so my car, the little plastic couplings for this, there's this one big hose that comes off the water pump and the radiator into the feet. It's a big tentacle hose, right? It's $300 for the hose. I contacted BMW, and listen to this bunch of malarkey. I got a friend at BMW who hooks me up, right? And he says, look, I have tried and tried and tried. Even though BMW and Rolls-Royce are, BMW is the parent company of Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce will not allow me to sell you this part as a BMW part because they know it's for a Rolls-Royce and they have their own pricing structure. And even though if it were a BMW hose, it would be a $200 hose, because it's a Rolls-Royce hose, it's a $370 hose. And it's going to take us a week to get it from England and blah, 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 blah. So I'm still waiting for this hose. I'm having to pay 300 and something bucks for this hose, and it's a pain in the ass. So the car is done. Car's put together. The car's fixed. Everything's been replaced. But until we get this hose and it snaps in like Legos. Click, click, click. We can't drive the car. There's no hose for the cooling system. So what I try to tell people, the whole point of my video series for the last year with the two Rolls Royces has been this one thing, is that here's the secret. If you know how to work on cars, or you have somebody who can work on the car for you, and you want to own a Rolls-Royce Phantom and use it as a daily driver, and you want to do that for under $120,000, this is the trick. Now, if you go buy a brand new Rolls-Royce, you're going to spend $500,000 to $600,000, and it comes with a couple of years warranty and a maintenance program. If you have that kind of money, then these things aren't going to be an issue for you. Like a friend of mine has a 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost. 2010, pretty new car, right? Car's 10 years old. All the airbags just failed on him. He had it towed to Rolls-Royce Park Place in Dallas. They told him it was going to be $13,000 to fix the airbags. And he was like, God, he's losing his mind. That's a lot of money for him. Now you say, oh, this guy drives a Ghost. Well, you know what? You can buy a Ghost for, $100,000 nowadays. $13,000 is a lot of money. Now, here's the thing about it. If you're the kind of person who makes millions of dollars a year and you go buy a brand new $300,000-$400,000 Ghost and you're driving it around and it needs $13,000 worth of stuff, like, yeah, it's no big deal. I make that much money in 10 minutes. But if you're trying to buy a used car and enjoy a Ghost or a Phantom, it's a completely different thing. So people, give me all this crap. Oh my gosh. Jim P says, glad to see you're okay, big guy. When you get better, do some kit videos. Building my own kit costs a lot of money, a lot of hours. What do you charge to build one? Definitely fair. Take care. Jim P. Well, I'll get back to the rules in just a second so I can answer your question. I generally charge between $50,000 and $75,000 to build a Night Rider car. And that depends on the engine that we put in the car and whether or not we completely redo the interior. Problem with the Night Rider car is it's built on a 1982 Trans Am. And if you find a 1982 Trans Am, it's going to be a pile of crap. My first car was an 82 Trans Am, and that was a 92. And the car was only 10 years old, and it wasn't in very good shape then. After 10 years, those cars completely fall apart. So after 30 years, they're completely gone. And the thing about it is you have to replace the entire interior, the carpets, the seats, the headliners, all of the rubber, all of the seals, the window regulators, the door locks, every single piece of plastic, every single thing in the car has to be replaced. Every single thing. Ow, shit. Oh, sneezing and coughing hurts. And so, sorry. I was explaining earlier how I got a broken rib. So then you got to find those turbo cash wheels. You have to sandblast them. You have to powder coat them. You have to find the hubcaps, put new tires on, and everything about the car has to be replaced. The shocks, the brakes, the discs, the drums, the pads, the lines, the springs, everything. You have to replace everything. And then if you got the 305 V8 in there, you got to make it run right. The car's overheated right out of the box. Got to put in a new radiator system. If you're trying to get the air conditioning to work, good luck with that. Air conditioning never worked on those cars. Best thing to do with one of those cars is take the 305, throw it in the trash, go get a crate 350 and a good Holley carburetor and a 700 R4 transmission, and make it a 4-speed overdrive with a decent carburetor. Or if you really got the money, put in a Holley EFI carburetor with the computer on it. Or if you really have the money, put in an LS1, which is what we did on one of the cars we're working on right now. But that's about a $15,000 proposition. So if you just have the money to throw at the car, then you're going to have to get the car painted. And as we've documented well on my channel, getting a Trans Am painted is tough because it's a wavy metal piece of crap car that's always had a lot of Bondo and body work done to it. Getting it painted, you're going to spend minimally $5,000 painting the car, and it's still not going to be that great. And so if you really want to do a Night Rider correctly, you got to take the car completely apart, have it painted, then put the car back together piece by piece. And then that's just to get the Trans Am to be a Trans Am again. Then you got to do the Night Rider stuff. And most of the people that sell the Night Rider stuff are in Italy. Now, no disrespect to my Italian friends, but there's 3 or 4 sellers in Italy, and none of them are reputable. You'll send them money, and you may never get your parts. So these guys sell on eBay, and they have notorious bad reputations for sending you parts that are crap. And you're going to have to redo everything they send you. There's no such thing as an off-the-rack dash that you just plug in the car. Even if you buy a completed dash from them, you're going to have to completely redo it anyway. So the bottom line is I am not taking any more Night Rider commissions. I don't want to do any more Night Riders. I'm really not interested. Even at the crazy high price of $50,000 to $75,000, it's not worth it. It's not. It takes 3 to 6 months to build one of these cars, and with the overhead of how much it costs, I lose money at that price. So unless you have your own body shop or you're willing to just throw money at the situation, you're willing to throw more than $50,000. Now, that's not to say there's lots of people who've built their own Night Riders for 20, 25 grand. And they might look okay in a picture, but when you see it up close, it is a rattly-tattly piece of crap. I'm sorry to say that, guys, but every Night Rider I've seen built by somebody by themselves is the funniest piece of junk I've ever seen in my life. I just look at it and go, oh, my God. It's just like held together with hot glue. And so anyway, that's my comments on Night Rider. I love the Night Rider car. I have an 88 GTA that's my own car, and the reason I kept that car is it was a completely stock 36,000 mile original car in perfect mint condition. I bought it for like 12 grand about 5 years ago. And when I bought that car, my friend said, that's a lot of money for a Trans Am. I go, yeah, but look at it. It's in showroom condition. And crazy enough, I Night Ridered the car. It was already black. So all we had to do was paint match the nose and bolt that on there and put the dash in it. And it's a factory air conditioned, factory cruise control, 2-port fuel injected 700R car that runs and drives perfect. And I said, this is one of the lucky ones. This is a car that was done on a good day. And I'm keeping it. Not ever going to sell it. So I have it at my shop. It's sitting up on the rack. I've been meaning to get it down and just enjoy it and drive it around, because it is a truly daily driver car. But I've just got it on the rack just because I got to get it out. I don't have room to park all my cars. And I was thinking about, actually, the Night Rider dash is out of it right now. And I was thinking about just kind of putting it back to stock on the interior and just leaving it Night Rider on the outside and then stock on the interior. And then just drive it around and enjoy it as a Trans Am. Because it's just a nice Trans Am. It's got air conditioning and it works. So, taking that steering wheel off with the regular steering wheel on it, just make it a stock car on the inside, leave the Night Rider nose on the outside, and enjoy it. Aaron says, I saw a Night Rider car in Tennessee. So you're talking about the car museum in Pigeon Forge. And I think that it's actually in Gatlinburg, the one you're talking about. And it has some of the worst cars in it I've ever seen. How that is a car museum is ridiculous. We were there last year, and it was just the most disappointing, pathetic car museum I've ever seen in my life. If you want to go to a decent car museum, the best car museum for movie cars in the world, in my opinion, is Scott Velvet's car collection in Branson, Missouri. Scott's a close friend of mine. He has one of my time machines in there. Not the reason I'm saying it, because that time machine in there is probably one of the worst cars I ever built. It's a long story, but the rest of his collection is amazing. Also in Jackson, Tennessee, not Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis, is Rusty's movie cars. A very small place. I think it only charges $5 to get in. It's out of the way. It's not off the highway, but it's worth going and checking it out. That's a definite do. You know, everybody's probably heard of Volo Museum and outside of Chicago, but I don't really, you know, I think it's a must-see to go. And they have some good stuff there, but I wouldn't call their collection the best. Arizona loves you. Keep the metal faith. I'm trying to, what is it? Sickness Untamed? Is that your name? Okay. Caught the Knight Rider Marathon on Charge. I didn't watch the Knight Rider Marathon. I've seen every Knight Rider episode, so. Let's see. I'm not going to say kit sucks. Kit is awesome, but building a kit sucks. You said a picture of the generally. It's easy to do generally. All you need is a charger and paint it orange and put the flag on the top. No suspenders. No, that's because I'm not wearing pants. True. I'm just wearing shorts right now. You don't need to see them. Just me in a t-shirt and shorts. Sitting around the house. I'm not going anywhere. It's Saturday. It's 110 degrees outside or something. I'm going to sit here with all 6 of my air conditioners pumping. And I had a few of these a little bit ago. Highly recommend these right here. Free endorsement for Chips Ahoy's, Reese's. Now, the best ones are the chocolate on chocolate. This is a chewy. Don't eat these. These are bad for you. About once an hour, I'll take a pull off one of these. Pimp Daddy Surfer. Out of all the cars you have owned and or worked on, which is your all-time favorite? Okay. I would have to say there's a difference between owned and then worked on. You know, for building, I would say the Time Machine is the most fun to build. I don't really get bored or tired of building the Time Machine. We built 34 of them. It does get kind of monotonous, you know. You're like, oh, here we go, another Time Machine. But doing Knight Rider and the A-Team and cars like that are a lot of body work, and body work sucks. Sanding, dust. I mean, there's the A-Team, man. Just sanding a van. Hate it. Body work. Sucks. That's why I don't want to do a Knight Rider anymore. I'm just like, the body work. It's a body work. It's upholstery work, you know. But working on the Time Machine, I like doing metal work. Metal work is fun. Metal work and soldering. It's awesome. But now as far as owning, I love the A-Team van, you know, like driving it around and stuff. Although it's not the most comfortable van in the world, though. It's not that comfortable to drive. The DeLorean is not comfortable to drive, I would have to say. I think the most comfortable to drive might be the Knight Rider. The Ecto was fun to drive as a car. Jim P says exactly, pain in the butt to build. I wouldn't build one for someone else for $75,000. Not worth the aggravation. Everything you said is all true. We're building a car for a guy. I hate to admit this. We've been building this car for about 6 years. But the reason is because the guy's not in a hurry. It's a back burner project. He's not hounding me on the deal. I feel guilty we haven't gotten him his car yet. But he's one of these guys that's like, nah, I'm not even ready for it. Just take your time. You know, he's like, so we've been building this car since 2014. And believe it or not, we're actually on the third Trans Am. Because we started with one Trans Am and we weren't happy with it. And then I got another Trans Am that I thought was better. And then I made a deal with a guy. I got to throw somebody on the bus right now. I've talked about this before. My TV show Screen Machines was produced by a company called AMS Pictures, and it ran on the Reels channel. I don't know if you ever saw my TV show. Ran on the Reels channel. Then it was sold to a company called TCB Media Rights, who put it on Discovery Channel, D-Max, Turbo. So throughout the rest of the world, in like France and Australia, New Zealand, and Malaysia, Brazil, Singapore, all the rest of the world, it ran on like D-Max, Southeast Asia, Turbo, Discovery Channel. So my TV show Screen Machines ran in hundreds of countries. Millions of people saw it. Here in America, ran on the Reels channel. The only reason I mentioned that is because AMS Pictures, that produced my show in Dallas, did another show called Dallas Car Sharks. It's about these guys that would go to auctions, they would buy cars, and they would flip the cars. They did 3 seasons of the show. There was a guy on the show named JD and his mom, Martha. Now, my 2-door Dodge Monaco that I bought from Martha. And JD ran a thing called Third Gen Automotive, and he, what's your name? Is it? I want to say your name. Is it Mahmoud? Mahmoud. So you see my show in South Africa on Discovery. That's awesome. I do know it was in South Africa. So it's been all over the world. It's crazy, right? So, but this guy JD, he specialized in old Camaros and Trans Ams. So I said, look, I got this Trans Am I'm building for a guy. What would you charge me if I gave you this chassis to put an LS motor in there, like out of a Tahoe or something, like an Iron Block LS, paint the thing black, give it back to me as a running driving chassis? He said, I'll do it for 15 grand. I said, cool, take the car. Well, he had the car for like a year. And I started hounding him. I'm like, dude, you had this car for a year. When am I going to get it back? Well, long story short, he ripped me off. He never did any work to the car. He took the money. I had to get the police to get the car back. And I got ripped off. I lost my money, and the car was completely ruined. So then this opportunity presented itself where this guy had a running, driving Trans Am chassis with an LS1 motor in it. And the guy had it on eBay for like $5,000. And I was like, dude, that motor is 10 grand. And I bought the car, and it was in Los Angeles. And I drove all the way out to LA with my bus and trailer to pick the car up personally. I didn't want to take any chances. I got my bus and trailer, went straight out there and got the car. Brought the car back. So now we're on the 3rd car for this guy. And because what he wanted was a Trans Am with an LS motor in it. Putting an LS motor in the car is not as easy as it sounds. Everybody's like, oh, do an LS swap. It's not like Legos. You just... Yeah, I mean, the motor mounts are different. The exhaust is different. The oil pan is different. The computer is different. It has an electric fan and not a powered fan. It had the location of all the engine accessories are in different places. It's a completely different animal. Yes, it can be done, but you're going to put a lot of money into it. So we have a successful running, driving car now that has the LS motor in it. This was the car that I had with the paint shop debacle situation, with the guys ripping me off the paint shop. They told me, well, we'll do the body and the paint work for $5,000. And then they took the car. And this was the car they ended up basically stealing from me, that I had to get the police to get me to get the car back. So the reason this guy's been waiting now for 5 years for his car is because we've been through 3 cars, 2 different police situations to get the car back that was stolen by people who are working on it, who just, you're going to keep the car. So he's been very understanding. And I have lost $25,000 or more, $30,000. So he's paying me $75,000 for the car, and I've already lost a third of that. So now we've got the car back where it is running, driving, LS motor, got the wheels, has no interior. All we have to do now is put the interior in the car and put the Knight Rider stuff in the car. And it'll be, we hope to have that done soon. We just have a couple of projects we got to knock out of the way. Jim says RoboCup car would be cool if it ran again. The car technically runs. It's just got an electrical problem with the computer relay. What we did before, when we did an event with Peter Weller, the guy that played RoboCop, we actually drove him into this 30th anniversary event in the car. He signed the dash. He was a cool guy. But what we did to bypass, what we did to get the car running is we ran physical we just took like alligator clip wires, and we ran a wire from the battery to the fuel pump and a battery wire to the fan and to the ignition, and we direct wired everything directly to the battery so that it would run, and then it ran. But there's something wrong with when you turn on the key and the relays come on and turn everything on. The wiring from the it's because it's not as simple as changing the relay. The wiring from the relay to the part is like bad. So it needs like a whole new wiring harness or something. So we're going to rig it to work. But that's what we have to do. David Hasselhoff tell you stories about Night 4000. No, he hasn't. I got to be honest. David Hasselhoff is not that nice. I've met him and talked to him a few times. He's not all that cool. I got to be honest. He's kind of a dick. Ever try to make a famous car from video games? No. I don't play video games. I do think it's funny, though, that I meet young people and they look at like the Time Machine or something and they go, oh, wow, that's the car from like GTA. I'm like, what? What? Just like the movie Ready Player One. The car that was in Ready Player One, believe it or not, they took my replica time machine and 3D scanned it. And that's what they used for the CGI that's in Ready Player One. So technically, it's my car in the movie Ready Player One. How cool is that? They had actually lied and said that they were scanning it to be used in a video game. But we found out that it was actually for Amblin Entertainment, which is Steven Spielberg. So imagine Steven Spielberg that produced Back to the Future had to borrow my car to make a replica for their movie. How cool is that? And a lot of people don't know this because I'm not really supposed to talk about it, but the car that's at Universal Studios Florida, I built that car that's on display right now. And there was a bunch of stuff that had to go on, and I actually had to get Steven Spielberg's personal permission in order to do the project because Universal wanted me to have this car there. So I had to contact Bob Gale, who wrote Back to the Future, and I said, would you do me a favor? Would you contact Steven Spielberg for me and get him to send permission to Universal Studios for us to do this project? And Steven Spielberg's office gave Universal Studios Orlando permission directly for me to do the project. So, and Universal was like, how did you get that? Like, how did you do that? And I go, I'm awesome. That's why. Because I know Bob Gale, who wrote Back to the Future. I email with him weekly. And, because when Bob needs something Back to the Future related, he'll ask me. So like when they did the musical in Manchester, they needed a flux capacitor that they could dance around with on stage. And I built it for them and I mailed it to them in a box, and they invited me to the premiere. They said, we're not going to pay for your trip, but if you want to come, we'll have tickets for you. So me and my wife, we flew to Manchester. We got a hotel. We went to the premiere of the Back to the Future musical. We sat directly in the center. I met Alan Silvestri, the conductor, talked to Bob Gale. We stayed for the after party. We hung out with all the actors afterwards. And the actor that plays Goldie Wilson, the black actor, he's actually from our neighborhood here in Oak Cliff, which was a really great thing for us to be there for him. He said, oh, it's so great that people from my neighborhood are here in England to see me perform. I said, we're here. Oak Cliff is here for you. But it was great. And it was a fantastic show. So I don't know if and when it's going to reopen again, but if you ever get the chance to see the Back to the Future musical, you should do it. It is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I never saw something so cool in person in my life because it was not just like some stage production. The whole theater was the set. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, I don't want to give away anything, but they have the DeLorean on stage. The DeLorean literally flies into the audience over your heads. You're like looking at it like, holy shit, there's a DeLorean flying above my head right now. It's unbelievable. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's unbelievable. This guy says, Sickness says, we know you were a close friend of the Abbott brothers. Might I ask your thoughts about Phil? I haven't talked to Phil Anselmo since probably 1995. The band hadn't talked to him since 2001. And he was a dick then. I'm sure he's a dick now. So I have no communication, or have had no communication with Phil and Selma. Last time I saw the dude was probably 95, 96. That's the last time I saw him. I worked for Vinnie Paul for 15 years till his death. Did you see the 63 rolls Silver Cloud sold for $635,000 on Mecum? No, I don't know anything about it. What car was that? I don't know anything about it. Reborn Rock Vids wants to know, who is your hero? Who is my hero? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. As far as people that are known celebrities or people that are unknown, I don't know. So I've had a few different little heroes in my life. People that made a difference, I think. But for me to say somebody's my hero, I'm not sure. I'm trying to let my hair grow out because I'm about to do. Many of you have seen the commercial that I've done for Skull Shaver, this thing that shaves your head. This is what I use to shave my head with. They're sending me one of their newest models and newest blades, and I'm going to do a new update video on it this week. So I'm trying to let this grow out so I can, so it'll be more dramatic when I shave it. Because I have hair. I just shave it off every day. So I'm letting this get dark. Sovereign Knight says, hey, Bob, wishing you an awesome day. Well, thank you. I hope it gets better. I feel like hell. My broken ribs. Let's see. Audrey, if a stranger tries to open the door, it shocks them hard enough to knock them out. Well, I don't know what the question here was. John Kelly says, good evening. What time is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about, what, 9, 10 o'clock over in the UK? It's about 6 hours difference, I think. Something about a Harry Potter. I don't know. I haven't read or watched Harry Potter, so I wouldn't know what that car is. Who's the coolest celebrity that you know? I'd have to say me. Can I say no? It probably was Vinny, I guess, who I worked for. He was one of the nicest celebrities that I knew. Cool. I think the biggest celebrity that I know that I think is cool would probably be Gene Simmons. He's a really cool guy. He gets a lot of shit. People, say, oh, that guy's a dick. He just wants money and stuff. But not if you know who he is. If you run into him in an airport and you're trying to get a free autograph, he might blow you off. I don't know. He might. But he's a completely different dude. You have to understand how guys like him think and how they work. Vinny, I remember one time Vinny got cornered by this dude at the airport, and because the dude knew he was going to be there, and the guy just had a sack full of stuff. We were talking about sticks, symbols, pictures, records. I mean, the dude just kept pulling out more stuff. Vinny just kept signing it. And I said, dude, he's just selling all that shit on eBay. And he goes, I don't care. He goes, you know what? Maybe I paid that guy's rent this month. You know what I mean? He wants to sell my autograph. I helped him out. All I had to do was sign my name for a few minutes and talk to the dude. And then he sells the stuff. And now he's got money. And I helped him out. And I was like, well, I guess that's a way of thinking about it. He goes, yeah, so what? And if people want to buy my autograph, then that's great. But the more I sign it, the less valuable it is. And that's what I want. I want my autograph to be worth nothing, He goes, I'll give it to you for free anytime. He never charged for his, he would never, because I tried to get him to do things like that. I go, we should go to the Comic-Con. You could sign autographs. He goes, I ain't charging people for my picture and my autograph. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to. So he never charged for his picture. And Daryl never did either. But he was like, no way. I'm not charging for it. No way. So he was really cool. Now Gene does charge. So you got to think, this is his business. What he does for a living Is he is the product. He sells Kiss stuff and he sells Gene Simmons stuff. But I've done videos on my channel about Gene Simmons, and I know people will probably make anti-Semitic Jewish jokes, but I think there's some truth to that, and it's because there's a culture. There's a, and I'm trying. I want to say this lightly because I don't want it to be construed as being, anti-Semitic or racist or any way, because I find it to be a positive thing. I think that in that culture is cultivated a mindset of business, which is why Jewish people do so well in business. And that's not a put down in any way. I think more people should. I have great respect for the Jewish faith, but the community, I really do. Because a lot of times business and how you conduct business is equated to who you are as a person and how you are considered in the respect of your community. Do you understand? So what was this? James says, he took my cell phone and walked away with it, talking with a musician friend of mine on it. That's cool. I will say that I am in Gene Simmons' phone as a contact. I know I am because I put it in there myself. He is very arrogant. That's true. But he handed me my phone and said, here, put your name and number in here so I can call you later. And I did. So how that happened was a couple of years ago, I did a Gene Simmons master class, right? So he would do this thing. It was like $5 or $6 grand. And what you would get for your money is you'd spend the day with him and about maybe 10 other people. And you would get the bass guitar. You could choose either the Axe or the Punisher, and I got the Axe, of course. And it was down in Key West, Florida, and I spent like 6 hours with him. So it was me and like 10 other people. And he taught me bass. I played Cold Gin with Gene Simmons. Yeah! Oh, yeah! It was fucking great. And I hung out with him the whole day. And each person got to go into this little room with him, and he would sign you would bring a stack of stuff. He'd sign it. He'd take pictures with you. He'd sign your bass. He'd sign the case. He'd sign the certificate of authenticity. He'd sign whatever you wanted him to sign. Anything for shit. And he said, so Bob, you're in Dallas. Have you been to my Rock and Brews restaurant in Louisville? Because he's part of that. I said, I gotta be honest, I didn't have a good time there. He went, what happened? Well, he was very concerned. I said, well, I don't want to go into it now, but I said I had a problem with the manager there. And because he had contracted me to do some work for him, and then he reneged on it. And he really left me hanging. And I was not happy. And he said, this doesn't make me happy. I'm going to take care of this for you because you're a friend of mine now, right? You're more than just a customer. You're my friend. Give me your information so that I have it. I'm going to take care of this for you. Well, I give him the information, and I got to say nothing happened. So a couple of months later, though, he plays Dallas, and I buy the VIP package for me and Rachel, right? Me and my wife. And I want to say it was like $5,000. I mean, we're talking front row tickets, VIP access. We get to meet and greet the band. You meet the band before they put on their makeup, and they did an acoustic set for us out of makeup and signed pictures, took pictures. Then we got to see them again right before they go on stage in full makeup and take pictures with them. You got like laminates and T-shirts. You got a whole bag of stuff. You went into this, lounge where you got cocktails. I mean, it was a lot of money. Okay, it was $2,500 a person, but if you can afford it, there's no better way to see a Kiss show. I mean, you're hanging out with the band. You are so close they're spitting on you, right? While they're singing. I mean, it is great. So I see Gene, and he recognizes me right away. Bob, did that thing get taken care of? I mean, he remembered 3 months later the conversation, who I was, everything. Remembered me. This guy meets 10,000 people a day, remembered me. And I said, you know what, Gene? You know what? Nothing happened, but don't worry about it. I'm good, right? You have made it up to me. And he goes, no. I said I was going to take care of this for you. It didn't get taken care of. He told his assistant, stop the line, stop everything right now. We're going to take care of this right now. I go, no, Jim, please. I'm like, oh my God, everybody's going to be pissed at me. I go, please don't do this to me. He goes, we're taking care of this right now. He hands me his phone. Says, here, talk to this guy. I'm holding Gene Simmons' iPhone. And I'm talking to this guy, and he goes, this is such and such, and, I'm with Epic Rights Entertainment. Please Gene told me that we need to take care of this problem. I need your name and your address and everything. I go, okay, I gave him all the information. Give him back the phone. He says, here, he opens up a contact. He goes, put your name and number in here. I put my name and number in there. All that other stuff. And he takes pictures with me, takes care of me, tells his people, make sure has a good time tonight. All right. So, week later, this huge box, the size of I'd say about the size of a microwave, shows up. Big box, right? From Gene Simmons. And I did a video about this. You can go back and find this on my YouTube videos. I open it up, and it is full of Kiss stuff. Shirts, hats, scarves, puzzles, plush toys, collectibles, tons of stuff. He sent me a huge box of stuff, right? And a little note. Hope this takes care of it, right? So I was like blown away. So I did a video about that. Well, so if you go back and you look at my YouTube videos, you can see the video of me opening the box. You can see all these other videos, right? About a month later, I'm walking around Rocklahoma in Oklahoma, which is this rock and roll festival. And this person walks up to me and they go, I know you. You're Gene Simmons' friend. You're in that video. And I go, well, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, I was just at a Rock and Brews meeting for employees in Kansas City because I work at Rock and Brews. And Gene Simmons played us a video of you opening up a box of shirts and stuff. And he was saying that you had a problem with something at Rock and Brews, and he took care of the problem. And this is how you handle customer service and make sure people are happy. So Gene Simmons took the video that I made of me opening the box and used it to show people, go, this is how I take care of people if you're not good to them. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so honored. That is amazing. So fast forward a little bit later, my man Vinnie Paul calls me up in 2018. This was probably like March or so. Vinnie calls me up and he goes, hey, I know how much you love Kiss and your boy Gene Simmons. Gene just invited me to this thing. He's got a thing called the Vault. It's like a big box set. And he said I could bring some friends with me. And I know how you love Gene Simmons. So if you want to go, fly your ass up here to Vegas. And we're going on whatever day it is, Saturday or whatever. So yeah, I'll be there. No doubt about it. I'm packing right now. Like while I'm on the phone, I'm like, yeah, I'm packing my stuff. I'll be there. So I fly out there. And me and Vinny and Vinny's girlfriend and a friend of ours, Frank Kazenza, plays in the Droids in a band there, who was staying with Vinny for a while. And we go there, and the Vault is this big. I did a video about the Vault. You can see that on my YouTube. It's this big safe. It looks like an old-timey safe. It's made out of wood. You open it up, and it's full of stuff, Gene Simmons CDs and books and figures and coins. And so Vinny was going to get one for free because they were just going to give it to him because Gene's friends with him. And I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, how much is this? And Christina was running the event. She goes, oh, it's $2,000. I go, do you have more of them? Like, could I buy one now? She goes, yeah, we have more. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I give her my credit card. I go, she runs it for $2,000. She goes, well, since you're going to go in with Vinny, we'll just give you yours and Vinny's at the same time. I'm like, oh, that's epic. So this video is also on my YouTube. You can go back and watch it if you're a Gene Simmons fan. Just search for, Gene Simmons Videobob. You'll find it. So both me and Vinny get our vaults. Gene gives us our vaults. And this goes on for 20, 30 minutes. And then I said, well, look, I flew here. Can you pack this and ship it for me? Because I can't take it on the plane. It's a safe, it's bigger than my carry-on. She said, sure, we'll do that. So they ship it to me. Well, when I got it, it was smashed. UPS, those scumbags had broken my Gene Simmons safe. So I wrote Christina, who runs the thing. I go, you guys got to pack these better because freaking UPS smashed the shit out of this thing. She goes, oh my God, I forwarded this to Gene and he is super pissed because he loves you. And he wants to send you another one. I go, oh no. I said, don't tell Gene. I go, he's already given me so much stuff. He's going to think that I'm like a schnurr, that I'm trying to get stuff for free out of him. Don't do that. So she goes, no. This is what we're going to do. He's got a vault experience coming up in Dallas. And since you live in Dallas, we're going to invite you to the next vault experience. So he let me come to another vault experience for free. Gave me a whole nother vault. So now I have 2 of them. Signed it, took pictures, the whole 9 yards. Remembered me. As soon as he got out of the car, he saw me. He's like, Bob, what's going on? You can see all this on the video. Go look at my video. So my point is, as a celebrity, this guy knows me by name, remembers every conversation, has given me so much free stuff. Now, even though I've probably spent tens of thousands of dollars with the dude, the guy goes above and beyond to make me happy. And so the reason his fans who've done experiences like this are so loyal to him is because he goes above and beyond. So out of all the rock and roll celebrities I've met, no one has gone above and beyond more than Gene Simmons of Kiss for his fans, for me. Now, I can't necessarily count Vinny in that because he was a personal family friend of mine. I mean, he was best man at my wedding. So that's a different thing. But, Rob Halford was really nice to me. I did a fantasy camp with Judas Priest. I performed with Judas Priest. Rob Halford was very nice and very complimentary. And I've met tons of rock stars that are really great people. And touring with Vinny, with Hell Yeah, I used to drive his tour bus, and getting to meet so many other rock stars. I mean, I've gotten to enjoy having a good time with so many of his other rock star friends, Scott Ian and his wife Pearl, and Matt Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold, Dave Navarro, Slash, just so many great musicians that I get to spend time with because of him. So what's your favorite song from Judas Priest? I'm going to say Out in the Cold. It's my favorite Judas Priest song. Who's your favorite actor? I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite actor. It changes depending on. I'll say John Candy. Did you ever meet lemMe? Yes, I did. I met lemMe many times. I saw him hanging out at the Rainbow. He'd always be in the back of the Rainbow, and I'd see him there. And you didn't want to bother him. He was smoking and playing video poker. But we did a thing, probably 2006 or 7. We did a thing called Dime Bash in Anaheim at the NAMM convention. And Vinny was playing drums. lemMe was playing bass. I think Scott Ian was playing guitar. And Ripper Owens was singing. It was this amazing thing. I got to hang out with lemMe backstage, and it was a lot of fun. And had no idea what he said. I tried to have a conversation with him. He's just like, and I had no idea what he said. I was just like, yeah, cool. Yeah. Don't say Ace of Spades to him. Oh, he's dead now. But Vinny was like, don't say anything about Ace of Spades. He fucking hates that song. Ace of Spades, people like to touch all these songs that Motorhead ever did. We did over 40 albums. Steel Panther, amazing guys. Yes, Steel Panther, good friends of mine. Steel Panther, when they first came on the scene and they weren't all that big. I mean, they were playing like Monday nights at the, House of Blues. And I mean, they weren't doing that well. I mean, they were doing okay, but they weren't doing that well, And whenever they would come to town, I'd pick them up in my car, take them over to the clubhouse, over to Vinny's Titty Bar, get them some girls. How about Chad Gray? I'm not going to talk about Chad Gray. There's nothing good or nice I can say about him, so I'm not going to say anything. We're not friends. Yeah, I'm just going to say that. Let's see here. Sovereign Knight says, Kiss Immortals, cheesy but entertaining. You know, something that comes up with Kiss constantly is people are all the time saying, well, I don't like Kiss because it doesn't have the original members in it anymore. It doesn't have Ace and Peter and all these other. And somebody was having that argument, and they said, you know, Tommy and Eric should have had their own characters when they came in, you know, just like when Eric Carr was in or whatever. And I said, oh, you just said something interesting there. You said character. I said, Kiss is musical theater. And they're playing characters. So when you go see Kiss, playing the role of the spaceman is Tommy Thayer, and playing the role of the Catman is Eric Singer, and playing the role of the demon is Gene Simmons, and playing the role of the rock, you know, the Star Child is Paul Stanley. And I believe what's going to happen in the future, because Gene and Paul are in their 70s now, I think they're going to find replacements for themselves, and Kiss will go on as Kiss, just like Menudo continued to go on, and they will replace themselves, just like they did with the other characters, and Kiss will continue with new Kiss singers and bass, and you know, I think it's going to happen. I think Kiss is going to last forever, just like Elvis never went away. People to this day are still going to Vegas to see Elvis perform, and he's been dead since the 70s. So that's what I think is going to happen. Let's see. If they ask you to play in Kiss, would you go? Well, I can't play bass and I can't sing. But if something happened to Rob Halford and I thought I was up to it, and they said, you want to be the new singer of Judas Priest, I would do it. You enjoyed watching my wedding. If you want to have fun, go watch Videobob's wedding. Now, there's part 2 to that wedding that I didn't put on the video itself because I thought it deserved its own video. But if you search for Vinnie Paul, Nickelback, Steel Panther, the video that followed my wedding was Nickelback, Steel Panther, and me and Vinny all up on stage jamming. I can't make this shit up. Chad Kroeger from Nickelback was at my wedding. It's true. Go watch the video. And what a lot of people don't know is that Chad Kroeger and Vinnie Paul were very close friends, actually. People make fun of Nickelback all the time, but let me tell you something. Chad Kroeger and his brother and that band are really nice guys. And whenever they came to town, they would come hang out over the house, or we'd go see them. Nicest guys you ever met. And why people make fun of them, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I thought their music was awesome, but whatever. It makes you feel better to make fun of them. But when Vinny died, Chad paid for Vinny's memorial service and didn't want anybody to know. He probably doesn't want me telling that right now. Amazing group of guys. So I never understood the whole thing of people making fun of Nickelback, but whatever. Anyway, people talk about Elvis is alive. Ever consider installing a Mr. Cool mini split? I don't know where that conversation came from. I'm trying to read some of your comments here. Let's see. Have you ever heard of Bob Joyce? I have. Where do I know that name? What is Bob Joyce? Let me Google it. Bob Joyce. Sounds familiar. It's a joke. Oh, I remember this guy. This is the guy that works at a church who they think is Elvis. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the dude was pretty convincing, but look, I mean, there's a lot of Elvis impersonators out there that's really good. Anyway, look, I've been on here for an hour and something. I might come on again tomorrow, Sunday. I need to hop off of here. And I know my wife's about to come back with groceries. She said she went to the store and she's been gone an hour, so she'll be back any minute. She's going to want me to help her. And I've been on here for a while. I just thought I'd kill some time, give an update. I have a couple of videos in the works that I'm working on. Things have been a little slow in the video posting world for me because I haven't been as active. I've been chilling, trying to heal up the ribs. So I haven't been working and going out and doing stuff like I should. I will admit something. I did an elaborate video about guns. I did this video about custom building an AR-15, custom building some guns, taking them out to the range and shooting them. And I made this whole video about it. And I uploaded it. And before I posted it, I let some of my other YouTuber professionals check it out. And we all agreed that I shouldn't post it, because YouTube doesn't like you talking about guns, showing guns, even if it's educational in nature. Puts your channel in a different category, and it can sometimes demonetize you. So I ended up deleting the video, and I didn't play it. And that was going to be the video for this last week. And I decided that, unfortunately, because of, let's just say, YouTube is a left-wing media organization. They're not interested in firearms and guns and things like that. And I'm not going to be able to show it to you. I decided, just imagine the coolest red anodized AR-15 you've ever seen in your life. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to talk about it, show it to you, or anything. I decided that I'm not going to have that kind of content on the channel. I don't want to have any kind of political stuff on this channel of any kind. I don't want to even go down that road, unfortunately. Maybe here's the thing. I don't want to have it associated with my brand. And what is my brand? My brand is this face. That little bzzz thing that you see? Where's one of my, I thought I had one of my pics right here. I have them all over the place. The little picture of me. Where'd it go? I don't have one with me. Anyway, that's my brand. And I have a brand. And I know that's so lame to say that, but I have endorsements that I'm working on with other people, and people, I'm just about to hit 100,000 subscribers on here. Once you hit 100,000 subscribers, they send you that 100,000 subscriber plaque. And what else happens is you are assigned your own YouTube concierge person that you can call that helps you with your channel. And then they also put you almost in another category. And that's why people, once they hit 100,000 subscribers, they start to really climb, because now you're considered a real channel, right? I'm right almost there. I don't want to do anything to mess that up. And I don't want to start politicizing things. You know what I mean? And talking about controversial issues. I don't want to talk about racial issues. I don't want to talk about political issues. I don't want to talk about the president. I don't want to talk about guns. I just want to talk about our cars and these fandoms. Because, we're living in a very sensitive world, and everything you say is used against you, good or bad. People want you to pick sides and choose loyalties. And I don't want to be in the middle of any of that. So I deleted the video, and it'll never be seen. And it sucks because I had so much fun. I had all this slow motion video of shooting and the bullets coming out in slow motion. And then the Desert Eagle jam that almost hit me in the head. Oh, it's great. It was a great video. But we decided, everything about it just, let's not do it. So, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. Something I am going to be going into in the very near future is I'm going to be learning about 3D printing, and I'm going to be buying some very high-end production equipment for 3D printing, maybe even laser cutting and laser engraving, thinking about buying some CNC machines, getting to manufacture some parts and things that I've been wanting to do. So I think the channel is going to start heading in that direction a bit, more into custom manufacturing of things that we want to do. And we've got a couple of other huge projects. I'm working on a couple of charity projects for both Michael J. Fox Foundation and Autism Speaks. We'll talk about that later. Just there's so much I want to do. There's only so much of me to go around. That's the problem, you know, because I kind of have to do everything. And today I feel like hell. So I'm going to go chill. So, all right, guys. Catch you guys later. Thanks for hanging out and all that good stuff. I don't even know how to turn this off. There it is. Okay. I'll catch you guys later.